We had to unmute the mic.
Good day, thinkers, thought leaders, progressives, and dreamers. I'm Craig the Writer Stewart.
And I'm Derek J.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah, I've been practicing. I still have not got my thing yet.
Mm-hmm.
My
your stitch.
Yeah, stitch yet, but I do. That's all I got.
Okay. Well, that's okay. Listen, this is our very second panel discussion.
Our very second? Or it's just our second?
Well, this is our second. Maybe it's the cocktail. Derek made me a cocktail. But yeah, this is our second podcast. And of course, we're talking about the divide between the lesbian and gay community.
Yes. So we put together, and I'll never tell you something. I will say this. When y'all want to talk about something salacious, y'all are ready to go. But when we talk about something that was some matter, some substance, we didn't get as much response as we would like to have, but we got a great panel here.
We did.
But hey guys, we could talk about mess all the time, but we also want to talk about some things that can push our community forward and help us do better and all that good stuff. And we want you guys to be part of that conversation.
Yes, we do. So for me, this conversation is important because I remember being in my 20s and attending a conversation where it was called Bridging the Gap. And it was on one side, there were lesbians, and on the other side, there were gay men. And the conversation was about how do we bring these two communities together? Because we're a part of the same subculture, but there's a divide. And I'll never forget, there was a lesbian there who said she didn't like integrating or partying with gay men because gay men use the word bitch too much. And she doesn't consider herself a bitch. And of course, from the perspective of gay men,
that's a term of endearment.
It's a term of endearment. But I do understand, her perspective too. So we wanted to hear from you guys. We assembled a panel of people to talk about it with us. But we want to hear your perspective as well.
And surprisingly enough, the women were ready to have this conversation. The men, not so much.
Not so much.
Men didn't really want to have the conversation. So I'm already starting to believe that it may be us.
It may be the gay men.
It may be the gay men that has the issue with lesbian women.
Right.
Is lesbian women oxymoron? Is gay men oxymoron?
That is an oxymoron.
Okay, so
lesbian women. It's kind of redundant.
It's redundant. So it may be the men that have problem with the women. Right. And we want to just hear from everyone and see what that conversation is. Because
for me, this conversation and every conversation that we'll do, it really is about sending a vibration into the universe.
You better vibrate.
Absolutely. It's about sending a vibration into the universe. And perhaps, it will trigger something in you, those of you that are a part of the panel, those of you that are watching, and to perhaps, again, bridge that gap.
We want to provoke you to think. And with that being said, I will say that I don't really have I have lesbian, I don't really hang out with a lot of lesbians.
Listen.
I'm guilty of it.
I am too.
I know lesbians. My sister's a lesbian.
And I know your sister.
Yeah.
but she's not in my phone. Right. I don't have her phone number. We don't hang out.
Yeah. And then I force her to go out to the club with me. I don't really go out to the club with her. But so to start this conversation off, we want to talk to some people that's in the club club world. And to get their take on what this is all about.
Because for those of you who may not be in the LGBTQ community that are watching, there's a divide. And that divide isn't just in our personal lives where we may not be close associates, but also in the club community.
We don't party together at all.
We don't party together. And when I first moved to Atlanta, I moved here in 1998. And there was a club here called...
God, I was still in high school. Whew. Jesus, okay, look, go ahead.
You're gonna do this every time?
No, go ahead. But no. That me. I'm just saying you throw the age out there. So wow, go ahead.
But I don't look like what I've been through.
Okay. But go ahead. 1998.
But yeah, in 1998, there was a club here called The Other Side, and those of you that are familiar with Atlanta, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it was a club where it brought together gay men and lesbians. It was on Wednesday nights, and we partied together. But now I can't think of any clubs that integrate the way that The Other Side used to. And even if you think about it, this is not just something that impacts gays and lesbians, this is also true for gay men and the trans community. Because the trans community, they party separately as well. You're starting to see more now where trans girls, and I can't even say trans guys because I can't say that I've seen any trans guys coming out.
Well, you don't know.
Maybe you just
didn't know they were trans.
Maybe I didn't know they were trans. But with the trans girls, you're starting to see more trans girls partying with the gay guys.
Yes.
It's more quote unquote acceptable now. Where before, all of the trans girls went to the Marquette or they went to 708, aka Loretta's, or they had their places to go. So you said you want to start with one of the club promoters?
So we're going to start with Mel Scott, who, well, I'll let her tell you who she is.
Absolutely.
Hey, Mel.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm well.
I'm all right. Can you see me?
Thank you for being with us
All
today.
right. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
There's no problem. So we want to talk to you because you created Trax Girls, right? And it was a reason behind creating Trax Girls. So like when did Trax Girls start?
In 2006. So I'm partners with Trax Atlanta, which is the men. All right. And I know you made reference to the other side. I love that was my spot. Okay. On Wednesday nights. Oh my God, that was my spot. But we actually created something after that at same scenario, but just a larger scale, Atlanta Live. Which is probably where I met you at some point, Derek. Which was another scenario where it was co-ed, guys and girls. But it was an interesting co-ed. The night would start early, and of course, it'd be like 1,000 girls, right? And as it got later, it literally would be like a blend for like an hour, and then it would flip and be all guys. So even though it was a co-ed event, we still we weren't there at the same time. So, but it was, 3,000 people strong co-ed, And
what do you
Trax Girls was, I'm sorry?
What do you think that is? Why do you think that it's not really true co-ed in terms of when we party?
So I'm going to speak from a female perspective about something I remember from Atlanta Live. It's so weird. I'm much older now, so I feel a little different about, partying with guys. Like I love partying with guys now, but I remember back then telling like my girl, like, I don't want you to come because the guys are so much bigger than us, right? So if we're in a crowd with you guys, right? We're walking around with our little girlfriends who we're all protective over, and your elbows are going, guys dance harder. So you elbowing us in the chest, you bumping us out the way. I'm trying to get through the crowd. If you don't want to move, you don't have to. Like it truly just physically is a different aspect in being in the midst of hundreds of men and being a female. It's literally and physically difficult to do, number one. Number two, y'all don't like us. Y'all don't like us. I don't know why. I don't know. Because I love you, Derek, and I think you love me, but I don't know.
I love you too. But yeah, I don't love you like that.
Right. Right.
If I could jump in there, I think, and this is one of the issues that I've kind of noticed personally with the lesbians that are more virile, dom, stud.
That's right.
What you want to. I've always found that they have a tendency to want to assert their masculinity or assert themselves. So they became very aggressive around guys, not so much around, and I'm not being funny when I say, not so much around, the girls that tip through the tulips. But
right. What kind of mammy saying is that? But go ahead.
But I've always found like the gay guys that I don't know if I want to say that they felt threatened by or that masculine energy was there, and they felt like they had to assert themselves to be like, okay, listen, I'm here, and so it always became this kind of contentious relationship between studs and that particular kind of gay guy.
No, you're right, because studs are the ones that have the issue with gay guys, and gay guys have the issue with the studs. But it goes both ways. You are right about that. You're absolutely right about that. And not to, be a hypocrite, but I don't necessarily prefer sometimes, because aggressive studs sometimes do. I consider myself a stud, but I'm not out here always trying to assert my masculinity upon people. But you're right. there are a group of studs sometimes that are very aggressive when it comes to gay men, because they are asserting their masculinity. And also something I frown upon, I hate gay men that are not gentlemen. Okay. And I know it sounds weird, but I hate if I'm with like 4 or 5 gay guys and it's me. I'm still a stud. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
I'm a stud and it's my girlfriend. But bro, grab the door. Like, what's your problem?
Listen,
you know? Now, I hold the door for Derek. Hey, I tell you, I hold the door for Derek. But if I'm with, G, or for Juan and G, get the door, dude. You see me coming.
I
What's
love
your
that
problem?
you said that. You know why I love that you said that? Because I say to all of my female friends, my female friends, I say, let me explain something to you. When you're with me, whether I'm gay or not, whenever you're with a man, gay or straight, when you get to that door, you step to the side and you wait for him to open.
I mean, I'm a gentleman too, even in my heels and everything. I would still be.
Absolutely. But do you think that would be okay with some studs if I went and opened the door?
If you open the door for her girlfriend, I'm sure it is. But I'm just telling you, no, seriously though, but I'm telling you that literally has been something that irked. I remember being in Atlanta Live with those thousands of people. And I'm like, dude, you're rude. Oh, honey, I didn't see you. Da, 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 da. But, and then I immediately felt away like, okay, but no, I feel like men, I tread lightly with what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but I do feel like men, they should be gentlemen. At the end of the day, you still are dealing with women. And myself personally, for example, if I'm with the Maya, good example, when I'm with the Maya, I got that door and I got that bill.
Right.
Whatever that means. Okay. Whatever that means. But that's how I feel when I'm with the Maya. I got to get her door. It is what it is. And that's just how I am in that environment. But I do feel like, gay men, sometimes they're not gentlemen. And I don't feel like that's cool. I'm like, your mom raised you better than that, regardless of what we're doing right now. Like, your mom raised you better than that.
Now, why did you feel the need to have an extension of Tracks to create Tracks Girls?
Because we started doing, some of the men were complaining about, oh, it's too many girls. Some of the girls are like, oh my God, it's too many guys. So we kept our, our Saturday night co-ed event, but we would do an all girl event on Friday. We do an all guy event on Sunday, just to kind of, because sometimes guys just want to be in the presence of guys and girls want to be in the presence of girls. And right now, literally, like I do events with rock stars, Julius. And he'll say sometimes, I don't know about that. It may be too many girls, because if it's too many girls, the guys won't come back. Well, it's the same way. If it's too many guys, the girls won't come back, which sucks. But if I can get all the guys and girls there at the same time, everybody loves it. Every single time, they love a co-ed event.
Me too. I'm telling you. I don't know if you were you living here when the other side was open?
Oh yeah, he was talking. She said that.
Yeah.
Oh, you did say
45. I mean, I'm 45. I was here. I was out there with you.
I used to love that place, and it was great energy to see the guys and girls dancing. But I've also heard people say that sometimes the studs don't like to see when the gay men dance with their girlfriends or the lipstick lesbians. You know
what? And I feel like those studs need to get over it personally. They really do. Like, it's people, and it's our brothers and sisters. But I definitely feel like, for me, just personally, I just don't like when gay men aren't gentlemen. Like, I don't like it. And I don't personally like when studs are too aggressive, I see sometimes gay men and gay women are beefing about something, and these dudes will fight these girls. And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, and girl, lady, what are you doing? You're going to knock your ass out.
Well, listen, I want you to kill. We're all older now. So I think that if you could create an older space for us to all come and chill with each other, and I will be there.
Let's do it. Absolutely.
Thank you so much for your insight on this. We're going to bring a man on here and see what he got to talk about.
All right.
Thank you so much, Mailbag.
All right.
MC Big Daddy. Oh, let me wait. There you go. There you go. MC Big Daddy, how are you?
I am wonderful. How are you doing?
I am well, thank you. Now, you are a fixture,
baby.
Wow.
And I mean, in a good way. I mean, you're legendary. You're a fixture in the Black gay community. You're a legendary hype man. You keep the crowd going. You are MC. You're all of those things in the Atlanta gay community. Well, not even Atlanta. You're across the country.
Yes.
I mean, and I know you travel the world. So do you do stuff out in the world? I mean, out overseas.
Actually, when this pandemic finished, I'll be going back to Brazil to do some work, parties out there.
So worldwide.
I can put that to my name. Yes.
So you've been able to see the change in the club life, the atmosphere, things of that nature. And is it our fault, the guys' fault? We don't want to party with the girls, or do you feel like it's a mix of both? Or why do you feel that we can't get together?
I think it's a combination. Personally, I think it's a combination of both.
Turn your music down. Turn your music down.
Oh yeah, you down there? Oh yeah, you over there jamming.
Sorry.
He thinks
hey,
now.
It's Wednesday night, worked all day. Hey.
Right, there we go.
Keep it sexy. Okay, so I've been around for a long time. And I'm with you and Melissa. When I remember Melissa when she was DJ M.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I remember the other side. I remember there was a night for everything in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Monday night was the show. That was a drag show.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday night, Thugs Out Tuesday.
Thugs Out Tuesday at Tracks.
Yeah.
At Tracks. Wednesday, the other side. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Saturday, you went to Tracks and then wind up at the Marquette.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a time when we all just partied together. I think with the more freedom that we have, the more divided we became. Because then it was a struggle just to identify who we were to ourselves. Now, especially with the new generation, they don't have the fight that we had, as the same as we didn't have the fight that our generation before us had. But we was appreciative just to party with someone that was going through a struggle just to identify who we were. And then to the same time, or at the same time, going to the club wasn't about finding a date. Going to the club was to get off the day that you had. No matter what you were going through, you can get on the dance floor and just dance from time you get in to time you leave. But because there's no bonding, hey, we're not fighting together. We're not fighting for the same cause. We're not looking for the same cause. We're not struggling for the same cause. I'm who I am, and that's what I want. I want to be surrounded by who I want to be with. I love partying with everybody. That's why I became an MC. But I don't know, it just lost the value. At some point, I guess it's the old saying: if you don't fight for something, you don't know the worth of it. Though you don't have that value in it. And so, but again, back then, we was all fighting for a space, fighting for identity, fighting for whatever. So we partied together. We had a common cause. Now, don't touch my man, don't touch my girl, don't look at my girl, don't look at my man. Because nowadays, the studs are dating the queen boys, and the queen boys are dating the studs, and the soft boys are dating, they're not, it's so much now to, I don't even understand.
Right.
So I stay in my corner at times. It's just best to sit back and watch, and to try to insert myself in to say, hey, what, why, But at some point we lost the trust in each other to say, hey, we're in this together. Well, let's party together. Let's have a good time together. I wish we can bring back the other side. Actually, that's one of my dreams, to bring back something like the other side. Hey, we're not here to get or attack. We're just here to have a good time. Get drunk, laugh at each other, and have a good time.
So you for you feel that we're just missing the commonality of who we are
of both
communities.
Exactly. When they start breaking down LGBTQ, MRP, all that. Hey, at the end of the day, we all like what we like. We love who we love, and it's just life. Well, that's my opinion, at least.
So, do you see us being able to get back together as one?
Mm. Put it like this: I have a dream that we can get together as one.
Mm-hmm.
I have a heart that says we can get back together as one.
Mm-hmm.
I party with, I hang out with Melissa,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and she's a great person. Melissa she's grown, she's wiser than she used to be. I am, you are. I do believe that we can.
Mm-hmm.
It's if we can have a good time together, then the sky's the limit of what we can do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for that. We wanted to hear your opinion on it because I know you've been in the mix for a long time. So we wanted to see.
Ooh.
Well, I have been too. So I mean, not as long as y'all, you and Craig.
Oh really?
Oh, girl.
Really? But you know what? To be honest, to be fair, I remember when you stepped out in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
I met you. I seen you at Tracks.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "What this boy doing with these heels on?" But then I sat back and I said, "You know what? He's gonna make a name for himself." And you look at you now. Look at both of you guys. Both of you guys. I mean,
well, Craig's still working on it.
We all are. We all are. Yes, indeed. We all are. And that's what makes us. That's one of the things that makes us so unique and so that stands us out from the rest. We continue to evolve. We continue to reinvent. We continue to be positive, and wherever we go, we try to leave a positive note, no matter what is thrown our way.
Thank you so much, MC Big Daddy. We'll get right back to you for your final thoughts, sir.
Gotcha.
Right,
thank you.
And let me just say this before we jump. We're going to jump to Lisa after this, but before we jump to her, I want to say that this isn't just a divide between gay men and lesbians. There's also a divide between Black gay men and the white, or Black gay community and the white gay community.
That's a whole other conversation. We ain't got enough time for that.
Absolutely. As Dee said, Derek, I want your shirt, but this is a whole kimono.
It's a whole situation. It's a whole situation, baby. This ain't just no shirt.
It's a kimono.
Lisa.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm here and I'm healthy.
So you guys, Lisa Cunningham. The reason I really wanted to have Lisa here in this conversation is because Lisa, you are, from our conversations, what I know about you. You are an old school, lesbian.
Right.
It's like, I ain't told you nothing. I ain't told you nothing I was, so we ain't gonna say that. Until you hear from me, it ain't true. And it's like so one, I wanted to talk to you about just navigating through life.
Yes.
And then getting to a point where now you're like, hey, I'm here. Yes. But trying to navigate through that thing and on a space where gay and lesbian women gay and lesbian don't even communicate with you. So you have a multi-layered conversation.
Yes. You know what's interesting? I was at the other side. You know what I mean? I was there. But what I want to make sure we all remember is not to beat ourselves up so much, first of all, because if you look at the heterosexual community, they have to party together because they, if the men, in order to date, they got to invite the girls, right?
Right.
So I think that if we had to, first of all, be together, we'd be together. So that's number one. So I don't think we should beat ourselves up in the LGBTQIA community because of that. But looking at the history, I mean, Big Daddy really hit the nail on the head, because when you're talking about old school versus now, you're talking about access that we just didn't have. Melissa told me a story about how the original, way that we used to have to promote, right? So there was mailers, and you waited for that thing in the mail, right? Because there was no internet, there was none of that. So you had to wait to go to Tracks or the warehouse or whatever that was on that Saturday night, on that Friday. So you were compelled to go. You didn't have any other outlet. So we were forced by the times to band together. And so I don't want us to beat ourselves up so much, because as we've evolved, yes, things have just gotten, so, I mean, we have so much more access. And a lot of the young people, I have I have extreme hope that it's all going to come back together full circle, because I'll tell you this, those young Gen Z and millennial kids, they identify as queer.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
while we still hollering LGBTQIA plus, they say, hey, we're just queer, we're sexually fluid, whatever that means. And those kids, they really mix in a different space.
Mm-hmm.
It's a you know, it's like a Jaden Smith kind of space. You don't know what that you don't know, you know what I mean? You don't know what that kid is, and it's okay. And I think that they are now all mixing in this you know, this real melting pot of a world. And I think that is what's going to eventually save the day, where we're just really not going to know what the labels are, and everybody's just going to be partying, you know, together. I think we cannot excuse the fact that the divisiveness of our administration, right, makes people even more divisive. Everybody, there's a tribal mentality now, right? So you're sticking close to who you feel most comfortable with right now. And so unfortunately, that's coming from the top, and it trickles down to all of our marginalized communities as well. And so we start breaking off and making sure we're just in our own little subsects where we feel, you know, really comfortable. So, hey, you know, but I'm telling you, that's our age group. That's Gen Z. You know what I'm saying? But those millennials, you know, I'm saying you know, like 33 below, I think they're definitely going to be the ones. But in terms of having these areas to go to, they have too much more stimulation now. So there's no need to make sure that we have the hub over there to go to. So I don't think we're ever going to see the glory days of the clubs come back in that sense again. But what I do think that we're going to see is some very intentional gatherings. Just like what Melissa was saying, hey, yeah, I still do this and I still do that. So I think they are going to have intentional gatherings that will get everybody together. So that's my take on it.
You better speak a piece, Lisa. You wrote that one down, didn't you?
No teleprompter.
So
I just feel so passionately about it, because I heard you saying earlier about that vibration, baby. That vibration is so deep. You know what I'm saying? And so we have to get on one accord with each other. We can't just be all, you know, against each other right now. We've got to come together.
Yes. Well, Lisa, we're going to come right back. We'll come back to you for your final thoughts.
Okay.
So we're going to click right here. Hey, Erica. So
Hey.
for all you guys, so we have this conversation all the time. This is my sister. And my sister is a lesbian.
Yes.
And we always have this conversation all the time about what's going on. So what is your take on it, Erica? Why we really can't get together like we need to?
I think I hit on Melissa and Lisa hit on some of those points, but I think that when women come into a club and they present any type of masculinity, like, men don't know what to do with that. Like, if it's not coming from a man, they don't know what to do with it. And I just think men are not interested in anything that doesn't serve them. So what is a bunch of lesbians doing here?
Now,
that does nothing for me.
Now, just from a different perspective, do you at all think that sometimes studs, if you will, are sometimes the aggressor and they don't like the masculine energy that's there from gay men?
I agree, because I mean, I don't even get along with a lot of studs because I'm not just angry and you know, aggressive all the time. I'm very much a woman, and I agree with like Melissa. Like, sometimes people don't know what to do just because of the way you dress. Like, they feel like they're gonna treat you like a man as well. But I'm nothing like a man. I'm very much a woman. Yeah.
I mean, you're a little bit manlier than me.
Well, most people are manlier than me.
True. But I mean,
I will say that, Michael, we talk all the time, and my Erica, and I will say, as a brother, I have failed you on this part, because I do make you go to all the gay clubs with me, and I make you go to all these things with me, and I don't really support you as I should in the lesbian community. And after, and I never really thought about it until we started having this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, so
what do you
Like,
mean?
if there's no penis there, I'm not going.
If there's no what?
If there's no penis there, I'm not going.
That's how his perspective.
Yes.
So what do you mean, Derek, when you say that you don't feel like you've supported her?
No, I support her as a oh no, we have that. But when it comes out to from a social aspect,
right.
You know, I don't really I bring her into my world. I don't never really go into her world.
Yes.
I do think that I do need to work on that.
And so the thing about it is that just because you guys are gay, you guys are still men. So it's still you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to hear what you had to say. That's all.
All right, thank you. I just wanted to chime in.
All right, bye.
All right.
Brandy. Oh, we got to unmute. You got to unmute. There we go.
Hi.
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing?
Wonderful.
So you've been hearing all of the not advice, but
just the different
commentary of what.
Yeah, it's funny how different everyone's is. I think based on the time that it happened, because I moved to Atlanta at the end of 2008, beginning of 2009, and it for me, and I just came out, so like it was super fresh. And Atlanta for me, it was very weird to see the divide. You know, coming from Philadelphia, I feel like, I mean, we have streets dedicated to gay pride and all the things. So, and everyone just seemed like very brotherly love, and it's just diverse. And coming to Atlanta, I found it very hard to find. I mean, if you didn't know the gay people, you would have no idea where to find out what was going on. I think because I came from the straight scene here in Atlanta, you know, so like I didn't even understand where to go. But what was strange was the first Pride that I went to was full of, and I actually talked to Melissa about this before because I didn't understand it. Pride, not Black Pride, and because of the Black Pride, and then there's the White Pride, you know, that blew my mind. Because I'm like, wait, but I'm gay. So why are there two different ones? I didn't understand. But it's because, you know, all the stipulations with White Pride not letting Black Pride in, and then we had to create our own just to have, you know, that pride for ourselves. But it was very different to see how we don't party with gay straight men. I'm sorry, that would be interesting.
Right.
with gay men that are white, gay men that are black, black women, white women. Everyone has their own separation. And I just can't understand that at all. You know, like I feel like there's so many of us that can come together and really conquer the divide. And I just don't understand why it exists still. No? Like it's for a long time. I was telling you the other day, I'm so sorry, that I didn't have a lot of gay male friends. And it's not because I didn't want them. It's because I just didn't bump into them. You know, like I didn't go to the same parties, and they weren't there to actually have the conversation as to, hey, what's going on and how can I help you? You know, so I don't know. Atlanta is very divided in that way. And I'm sure it's that way in a lot of other places, you know?
Right. So the one and only says, I never get why there are two prides in Atlanta. It's not just in Atlanta. Most major cities have two prides. And part of it, as you mentioned a moment ago, is because there was a lack of representation for us at the general pride or the white pride or wherever. In terms of entertainment, like there was never really entertainment that we wanted per se. And we just weren't considered the things that were interesting to us as Black people or people of color.
Yes.
So before we go to our last person, Brandon, we're gonna come back to you for your final thoughts. I want to be wait, hold on. Work this. Oh, here we go. There. I want to bring Melissa back up because hold on. So Mel, so you are a big
Derek,
piece.
I can't actually hear y'all. If I'm on right now, I can't hear y'all. I don't know why.
You can't hear.
I can hear the person that's over here, but I can't hear y'all anymore. Okay, leave and come back. Is that what you said?
Okay. Yep.
Leave and come back. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Let me go up here to Amanda. Hey, Amanda. Okay. Wait. Hold on. Unmute. Are you?
Okay.
Oh, there we go. How are you, Amanda?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Okay. Now we see you we see you over there. I saw you over here rooting and elbowing and moving around. So
oh, I didn't know the camera was on.
oh no, we can still see you. We can see you. But wanted to know what's your thoughts on this conversation, because I see that you've been agreeing and disagreeing, and you're with it. So, what are your thoughts on the situation on why we're not seeing the community come together from a gay and lesbian perspective?
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, I really agree with what everybody had to say, and so I think once I'm hearing all of these different perspectives, I think it's a buildup of a lot of different things. Starting off with, to be quite honest, I do agree that just men in general should just be gentlemen to women. So especially if it's an environment where this is a 80% male party and then there's just a couple of us in there, like, why not just let us go ahead and get a drink? Or why not let me get ahead of you in the bathroom that says female, that says women, and then there's a men's bathroom, but it's fine, it's a function. But like, why not, if I'm one of 5 women here, why not let me use the bathroom? Like, come on, little things like that. I do agree on the aggressive part as it relates to studs, but I'll say from my experience, I think it comes from just the overwhelming feeling of just not feeling safe when you just enter the door. To Mel's point, there's a lot, like the elbowing is serious, like it's serious business. Like I've lost drinks, okay? I've had shoes messed up. I've had, tracks kind of getting caught up in people's situations because it's like you're ignored. Some of it is like you're ignored, right? But some of it is just like, okay, I see you, and it's like, I'm not competing with you. We're not in competition with one another. You know what I'm saying? And I can say personally, that's kind of the vibe that I pick up on. But I will say that that's specifically to where I'm located, which is New York City. Now, when I was coming up, when I was a baby gay, I was like in...
You might be a baby gay.
Well, it's very interesting because I feel like I'm a middle child. Like I was the first open lesbian couple in my high school, and it was a thing. Okay, like it was awful, but I couldn't not be who I was, so I couldn't like hide it. I couldn't break up with my girlfriend at the time. Like we were just kind of just doing our thing. But I'll tell you, it was very much like, oh, she's a dyke. She's this, she's that, she's this, she's that. So coming from, and this was like from like 2004 to 2008. So this time frame, gay was just not a thing, especially in Alabama where I went to high school. Gay it was just not a thing. But if you were like kind of like tomboyish, people accepted you. And if you were like a little bit feminine in regards to like men, you were kind of accepted too. But me, it was just like people just had a problem. And even now to this day, I still feel like the assumption is that I'm heterosexual. But I will say to who said that? I can't remember. I did write his notes, but I'm sorry. I didn't write your name down, but you said that the millennials refer to themselves as queer. Please. This is true. We do refer to ourselves as queer instead of saying, oh, I'm a lesbian, I'm a bisexual, I'm this, I'm that. It's kind of like, no, you know what? I love who I love, and you never know what that might be as long as it's not like children or like animals, right? So, but I went off on a tangent, my bad.
It's okay.
Anyway,
you were speaking your truth.
So I come from a generation where I'm like in the middle. So like now it's widely accepted. Now it's like wave your flag high. When I was coming up as a little high school baby gay, you go to the club on first Fridays or some crazy shit like once a month, and it's every single person of the LGBT community all in one club, and we're partying together. But it was different. The men were nice. They even had like fake sororities and fraternities, which were like co-ed, The drag shows were nice. We shared bathrooms, but it was no big deal. There wasn't any fighting. There wasn't any tension, because essentially we were practically all in the closet, and we just wanted somewhere where we could go and just express ourselves, or like kiss up on our girlfriends or boyfriends, or just, you know, be cute. Now, once I moved to New Orleans around like 2008 to like 2015, I noticed that the only safe spaces for gays in general were clubs that were primarily male. And if anybody's in here from New Orleans or has even been, there was this club called Fusions. And if you've ever been to Fusions, you all
yes.
I don't think Fusion's not up no more though. I think I heard it burned down. But if you go on Fusions, it's basically just men shaking ass. And then as a girl, you're just like, well, I'm just here to be able to like make out with my girlfriend and nobody stare at me, right? So my experience, it generally is, it started off as togetherness, and then as time went on and as people took up different interests and as it became more acceptable, then it started to really just kind of dissipate. And what frustrates me the most is that we have to remember that before we're anything else, we are Black. Like number one, that's what we are. And that's how I walk through life. I don't walk through life as queer. I don't walk through life as a woman per se. Like I'm Black. That's the general experience. And when we treat each other a certain type of way, it just hurts. It hurts so much because we're all fighting the same fight. Yes, there are different like subsections of the fight, but it's typically the same fight, you know?
We're going to come right back to you, Amanda, and get your final thoughts. Okay, babe?
Okay.
All right. Now let me pop over here to back to Mel. Can you hear us now?
I could hear you just then, and now I can't hear you again. Hold on. Let me try this. Let's try this. That's so crazy. I heard Amanda talking to her, and then as soon as you did that, I couldn't hear.
Okay, but can you hear us now? Can you hear us?
I'm gonna leave and come right back.
Okay,
One more time.
Okay, so we had a male come jump in here. Day Real, we're gonna pop you up.
Hello, how's everybody doing? How you doing?
We're good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
So you've been listening to the conversation, and like I said, we have a lot of men that want to kind of have this conversation, but we have women that want to have the conversation. So what do you feel? Why do you feel that there is a divide between gay and
Well, it's the dichotomy, you know, and the diaspora of
you better use
the division. Huh?
So go ahead.
What you say?
Go ahead.
No, I said it's the dichotomy and the diaspora of, you know, the separation of, you know, cultures and, you know, people's backgrounds and stuff like that. So that's what from my experience when I was in the 90s and my 30s and trying to get into the lesbian club and stuff like that. They're like, you can't go in here. Go to somewhere else, go to another club. So it was always that. But as time progressed, you know, they'd be in the club because, you know, hip hop came in, you know, in the club because, you know, house music wasn't just house music. All of a sudden, 2000, it was house. And then all of a sudden, hip hop. And then hip hop would be played more and be less house played. And it was all that as well. So it was, you know, everything just started coming together as, you know, the 2000s roll around. But we're getting much better. Hopefully this pandemic will help us, you know, create something more and different, and something more alive and something more positive.
Thank you very much for your insight. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see.
Let's see if Mel will work.
Let's see if. All right, let's see.
Can you see me?
We can't see you, but can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Well, we ain't got to see you. As long as you can hear me.
I can hear you and I can see you.
Okay, so I know you've been popping in and out, but I wanted to bring you back because speaking to MC Big Daddy, speaking to Brandy, speaking to Lisa, you know, they all refer back to you, you know, and like, so you have been a really big influence in the lesbian culture in Atlanta. So one, I want to know how that makes you feel, being that you are part of creating the space for women to be comfortable in.
It's a lot of responsibility because you can feel like you're doing something great for the community, and then you wake up the next day with 100. You shouldn't have did it this way because now you're degrading women. I can't believe you had strippers. That's degrading women. What? I can't believe. I remember one time I had this party at Club Miami, and it was my homeboy's birthday, so I had my normal female go-go dancers, and I had a couple of gentlemen dancers as well. I can't believe you had all this DICK. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, it's my homeboy's birthday, and yeah, so we're gonna have male strippers and female strippers. So when we did the tracks, we always had male and female. That was always 50-50. And I'm gonna be honest, I feel like Duran's passing just furthermore divided the community. Like, we had co-ed going, and when he passed away, everybody was at odds, and we never really got back together again. We tried it with Rock Stars, and we were at that club called Life for a while, right? And it was a good time. And I will never forget this. Amaya went to use the restroom, and security yanked her out of the women's restroom. Like, no, this is the men's on this side and the women on that side. And I lost it. Like, you're not gonna treat her that way. Oh, I'm not talking to you, Em. You are talking to me. You're talking to my people, so you're talking to me. So we stopped doing that event, obviously. But it's crazy that we're in 2020 talking about why can't I party with my brothers and why don't we like each other? That is insane to me.
And then they're saying,
yes, it is very much so. I promise this. I am going to get with somebody. I promise this if we can party again in 2020, I don't know what's gonna happen. But the next time we're able to party, I promise you, we're going to create at least some sort of flagship milestone co-ed event that makes sense for 25 and up people.
Well, I'm barely making it because I'm 24. I mean, by the time that happens, but I want you to do that, Melissa, because I love that. I want to be a part of that situation, and I know Craig and I are in the same space. That however we can help make that happen, let's make that happen.
No, I mean, absolutely, Derek. It's funny. I would listen to Big Daddy telling his story, and I'm like, me and Kevin must have been together because I remember the first time I saw you. And I was like, what in the hell is he doing? If you're going to wear heels, you got to wear makeup and a wig. You can't just wear heels. But you can't just do this. You can't just do that. And it was crazy because I remember being in a club and saying that. And then I remember like 3 weeks going by. And then I saw like another guy come by that was saying, well, I was like, wait a minute. He done started something.
And then now,
very cool.
I got to change my stilo now. Everybody got on heels and bald heads.
Very proud of you, Derek. Very proud of what you've done and the lane that you paid for yourself and for everybody else that's coming behind you. That's really dope.
Well, thank you so much, Melissa. Thank you. So we're going to pop you back down again because Keelan just popped in the building.
All
so
I like this comment right here.
What's the comment?
Let's be clear. Lesbians have an issue with gay men because they always go after bisexual women, who always chase dick. A lot of gay males, lesbians. What is that? I don't know what that is.
See, but you said it's a good comment. You can't.
Because I got the gist of the first part.
Yeah, thank you for being able to join us. So Keelan is a promoter in DC, and we would talk. You can't hear us. Can you hear us? You can't hear. Okay, go out and come back in. But we wanted to get a different perspective of this conversation because of all of these people that are here are Atlanta based. So I wanted to get Keelan's perspective because he's in DC, so we can have that. But while he's coming back, we want to get some final thoughts from. He's popped back in that quick. Can you hear us now?
I can hear you now.
There we go.
All right.
So,
I felt like I was on Atlanta Housewives. I was like, I'm
right. Can't hear me. You can't hear. But
right.
Thank you for being able to join us. I know you had a prior engagement, but you're here now with us. And we were basically, we heard from a lot of people here talking about their experiences on why they feel like this doesn't, the gay and lesbian culture doesn't mix together well. So I want to get your take on it, why you feel that that's an issue.
Okay, we kind of talked briefly. Well, for those who don't know me, I'm Keelan. I am with KNC Productions and been around for a while as a promoter in DC. And when Chris and I started our events some years ago, we did that whole kind of best of both worlds. Derek and I kind of had a outside conversation. I thought it was an ideal kind of situation, bringing everybody together to party under one roof. What I found as a promoter and doing the parties, me as the host and a party person, I enjoyed it tremendously. What I found is from our patrons were a couple of things. As it phased out, was that we partied together for some time, and then what happened was a lot of the guys who would like to dance with the girls who were more feminine, their dom girls would get upset with the gay guys, and it would create fights and problems. And then a lot of the guys who are looking for guys and not necessarily girls are complaining, saying, hey, it's too many girls here. We're all the guys. So it just created, unfortunately, that separation, you know, and for a person who is always forthcoming, from a money aspect, to be honest, you have to make a decision. You know, do you try to keep this harmony on these two groups of people together and, you know, squash out the fights, or do you try to make money? So for us, it was kind of at that particular time, it was like we're trying to make that dollar. So we had to separate the party. But what me and Shakira and some of the other female promoters would do is we felt that instead of doing a weekly party or a bi-weekly party, we would do just special events, and it made it more kind of like a unique kind of situation with bringing people together. So that's kind of was my take on why things in DC separated from the lesbians and the gays. Because at one point we did have a very unique dynamic. I don't know if you all remember, we had tracks where everybody partied together. We had some clubs where, you know, we didn't have a lot of trans women, trans men, and lesbians all partying on one roof. But I think with the younger generation now, which is a totally different party crew than it used to be back when things were a little different, you know, you get more of that now. So that's kind of been my take on why there's been some separation on the divide. You know, I don't understand why we all are kind of in the same. When they mark us, we all mark the same, goddamn. So I don't understand why we can't really party together. To be honest, at the end of the day, nigga, you can wear a hat to straight and you can wear a hat to the back and have high heels on. When you gay, period. So we all gonna be grouped together, period. So I wish that there was a better way for us to kind of embrace each other instead of the separation. But you know, that's my 2 cents on that from DC.
So do you see the? Well, I know you talk about the younger generation because Lisa spoke about it earlier that the younger generation is a new thing now. But do you see it coming back to that time when we'll be able to party and play together and be friends?
You know, Derek, that's very unique that you asked me that question because my friends and I, we talk about that all the time. We're getting a little better lighting. You know, with the COVID-19 hitting us, you know, we've been talking about where does this lead us? You know, we're looking at Atlanta because y'all was the first to open up, and y'all are going to be probably like the first to start partying. You know, I'm not so sure if things are ever go to where they used to. One of the things that I found is DC is a very unique place, and that it's the melting pot, and we have the chocolate city. You know, we got everything here. I don't know if we're ever going to be able to bring that kind of unique joint effort together. Everybody, and I'm not trying to discount us, but a lot of times I know, and I party across the world. A lot of times what happens is promoters, you know, I'm not saying everybody's about the dollar, but there's a lot of separation. Everybody's kind of doing their own thing. You know, our lesbian crew here are kind of concentrating building their own party. We individually as promoters are trying to capitalize and build our own parties because the generations have changed. You got here, you have promoters who, the people who gravitate to them are the young crowd. You know, you got some promoters who like in my era, I kind of get that middle age, that 25 to 45 group. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have some people, like, again, we go back to the younger group, they attract younger guys and girls, trans, trans women, trans men. They attract that whole crowd. But and also women. We've been doing smaller parties because, unlike you guys, we don't have the luxury of having larger venues anymore. So we have like small hookah clubs or smaller clubs, and people are doing smaller parties, which attract a little bit of everybody. You'll get probably like 20% female, 10% others, and then like everybody else. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what steps it would take to kind of bring us all back together, or what we could do to jointly do parties together. But what I told you in the beginning, those are some of the things or roadblocks that I ran into. And I'm only speaking for myself. I can't speak for the entire DC, but I do know I've done a number of parties and I've hosted hundreds of parties. And those are the things that I faced as a promoter and as an MC.
And see, I receive everything that you said, and I agree with all of that. But this isn't just on the club front. This isn't just on the social front. This is in our personal lives. Like,
do you have lesbian friends?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I don't have any.
I got one. I'm like the white people. I got one friend now. I got lesbian friends. Are we the only ones on the call, or I can only see you guys?
You only can see us. It's people in here.
Okay.
But we're gonna come back to you and get your final thoughts, okay, Keelan?
No problem. This feels like the Housewives of Atlanta.
Right. And you got your red cup.
I do.
So we're gonna pop around. We have another person that popped in, but we're gonna get everybody that's been here their final thoughts on the conversation, and we're gonna move on to our next person. So let's see. So Mel, we see you. Can you hear us? We good? Okay.
I can hear you. I can see you. All that.
Right. So give us if you can leave these people with something to walk away with, what would that be?
Love is love. We are one. All the Frankie Beverly quotes, but just we can talk about it, and we can sit here all day and say, oh, this happened, that happened. A few things happened. Some of it was the girls and guys didn't necessarily get along, but in addition to that, it was really about the money. Okay. But we was doing $50,000 a week at Atlanta Live. You know what I'm saying? So that's the most I've ever made throwing parties. Club Miami was cool, but not like a co-ed party. But it's really the promoters. It's going to be the promoters, and it's going to be us just stepping up to the plate and deciding that we're going to do it. Ignore the kickback, ignore the pushback, because if we put it on and we put it together, they're gonna come. Historically, I didn't book an artist that I thought the girls would like. We booked an artist that we thought people would like, and who was friendly to us. So, and that was that. And so we just have to get back to doing that. And I'm actually glad we have this conversation today, because I think tomorrow I'm gonna reach out to the Juliuses, the Dwights down in Miami, and people like that. This gentleman that just got off. We should just do, even if it's just once a month, we should do something that is nice and co-ed. We had started doing, myself and I know Jamie, the Face Diva, Lisa Cunningham was involved. Brandy helped. Like, we had started doing this thing called Studio 54. Remember that?
I came there first. I had a very good. That was fun.
That was fun. It was a theme party. It was definitely a theme party, and we got away from doing it, but that was cool, and that was grown folks. So maybe we'll go back to doing something like that. But I promise you that this year we will start doing something that makes sense, and we can have this conversation a year from now. Like, how'd that go?
Right.
Yeah.
Mel, thank you so much for being part of this today, and I appreciate you giving us your time.
Thank you for having me. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.
We're going to go up to MC Big Daddy. Hi.
Hello.
Hello. So you heard the conversations, you heard the thoughts, you heard the things. What are some last thoughts that you have to just leave people with in this conversation? Because we've noticed that we have a lot of straight people, a lot of straight women that listen to these conversations, and that just don't know and just don't understand. And then we have gay and lesbian people in this room too that just don't know and understand. So what would you give as some final words just to kind of encourage the community, the coming together?
I would say to the promoters, if you build it, they'll come. If you build it, I'll be there. If you need me, anytime you need me, I'm there. But in my heart, I do hope, and I'll say I pray that we can get together and have a party together, have a good time together, where it's not about who gonna get who or who gonna get what, and who elbowing who, and who's not a gentleman, and who's more of a gentleman, and who's less of a lady, who's more of a lady. I just hope and wish the competition would stop. Because at the end of the day, like it's been stated before, one of the panelists, we are all gay. We are all who we love. And despite how we look at each other, the world looks at us in one brush. So we either get it together or we're not. And you said there's straight women on here?
Yes.
They come to the club to find out if they men at the club. I just had to throw that in. That's another subject. That's another subject.
That's another subject. Thank you so much.
But no, I appreciate you guys putting out the platform, you know, and you get the background and get everybody's point of view, because there's so many, but no one is pulling the trigger to make anything happen. And the conversation is always a start. So I appreciate you guys. And anytime you need me, I'm here. I've retired, I travel, and I can be on here anytime you need me.
But thank you so much. And thank you for your time, sir.
You got it. Much blessings.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
You too.
All right.
I want to read this comment right, because I think it's really an important comment. Leah says, as a marginalized community, I think it boils down to this. Before we enter these spaces, I think we forget to take off our armor. We've been conditioned to be at each other's throats for centuries. And I think that's a very good point. We're going to bring on Amanda.
So you've been listening for our young millennial here. So what are your thoughts of what's your final thoughts on this conversation?
Yes. I hate to be going to piggyback on what everybody said, but honestly, everybody really hit the nail on the head. I think the main points were promoters. If you promote the party to say, hey, this is an all-inclusive space, this is a safe space, everybody in the alphabet community is invited, then that will really solve, or at least help create a change. And additionally, we shouldn't, you know how some people are kind of like, oh, my struggle is worse than your struggle, or my struggle is worse than your struggle. That's why it's not like I was trying to divide myself or split myself up. But what I'm saying is we all have the same struggle, gay. And then if we're talking about gay, black. So let's just do that. And Leah made such a great point with, we have to take off our armor. And it's hard. So, but I think if we start there, you know, then we'll get along. And also, can I just say lastly, thank you so much for having me on. Like, honestly, Derek J, when I was a baby gay, I was watching you on, like, I think it was called Fashion Queens or something like that.
It was so many years ago.
Not that many years ago.
I'm just saying, you were being yourself. You and Miss Lawrence were being yourselves despite the era that we were in. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, thank you so much for having me on. And Craig, honestly, I took interest to you via Madison, and now I'm just like here. So thank you guys for having me on, and I really do hope that we can just move forward in the community.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All righty.
Brandy, you're up, girl. No.
All right. Don Julio.
You want to get
Don Julio 42, number 2. All right. So, here we go. So this is my final thought. I mean, like everyone else said, it's really going to be up to the promoters. It's going to be up to our community to really understand. First of all, everyone's taking a hit right now. This is the time of the meeting of the minds. We need to all get together while there is nothing going on and plan something for when it reopens. Everyone's going to be so gung-ho and so excited just to be a part of something so epic and so special. If it's there, they will come. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we really if we create together, we work together and understand that this is for the greater good. I mean, Mel said it best. Like, the best party she ever had was a co-ed party. When we did, not we, but you know, when they did Studio 54, that was awesome. It was like being at
clothes, we did dress up and everything.
So cool.
It was so fun.
It was. I mean, not only was it themed, it was so many different kinds of people there. Gay, straight, black, white, Indian, whatever. It doesn't matter. And that's what it's all about. And it's about dealing with self. So before we go out, instead of someone bumping into you, I saw someone comment and said, like, I'd be in jail if someone bumped into me and da-da-da-da. It's just like, it's not that serious. No. We're all out to have a good time. I used to be a cocktail waitress and people bump into me all the time. You got to go with it. You're in a club. Someone's going to bump into you. Let it go. And so before you go out, deal with self. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's where it starts. And during this pandemic, I feel like that is what we truly need to focus on. And when we do get back out there, we're going to be so appreciative of people that are around us and just so grateful and feel the love. Like, I mean, come on, that's all we give. It's the only way we can give it back. It's the golden rule. Treat others as you'd have them do unto you.
Thank you so much, Brandy. Love you, girl.
Love you. Thank you so much. Keep doing this. This was awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye. Lisa.
Hey.
And I saved you for last because I know you got some heat behind that.
You know what? Actually, I don't, because this is such a collective conversation. I learned something from everyone's perspective tonight. So I think that that's my takeaway, is that sometimes we have to listen, and sometimes it makes us uncomfortable what we hear. And so it's going to be about how we receive that message, and to not get so defensive about it, and to just say, you know what? Because say I'm a lesbian. I know that chick who acted too defensive, and I also know that queen that acted like a fool. So my point is that we do this as Blacks a lot of times. When whites criticize us about something, it's like we don't want to talk about the elephant in the room, right? So I think that we have to take a look at ourselves. One thing that's so amazing about what's going on, this platform that you guys have right now, this thing will live on. Like, this is something that will replay. So the people that saw it tonight, it will grow exponentially. And so we need to take this conversation to our social media channels. That's another thing. So instead of always talking about the latest kiki on our social channels or sharing the Shade Room videos, we need to be having these types of discussions right there on Instagram and keep this conversation going. So that's my takeaway, is let's keep the conversation going. Yes, we're going to hold the promoters responsible for everything they say they want to do, because I believe people like Melissa and my brothers that I heard from DC and what have you, I think there's some authenticity there. And so, but let's start keep the conversation going on social.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
No, thank you
for doing this.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So we had Kenneth popped in. Hey, Kenneth, how are you?
Hey, greetings. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Fantastic. I think it was fantastic. And Derek, let me tell you something.
What?
You have definitely been embodying the snake by the head with these conversations every week. My sister Big Frida, who I love dearly, she was on here, and I just feel as if, just to come on tonight's topic, this was something that I had a little sidetrack when I was in college at the University of North Texas, and one thing we did is that we comment on gay versus lesbian, and it was so crazy how many different perspectives came into play, because I feel like I don't have a problem with studs at all, which is probably the minority when it comes to perspectives, because both of us, like I always have a lot of stud friends, but I don't have a lot of femme friends as far as feminine women. Only because I feel like, it seems like they seem to like comprise in mess for some sort, but that seemed to be the situation. Again, all is fair, gays do the same thing, but that's why I seem not to have that different perspective. But again, if we all come together, we all come to the center aisle and find out how we can definitely be together and party together and love together, that will definitely bring the black. I'm just only speaking on black culture, but they'll definitely bring the black culture up, especially there in the city of Atlanta, because I feel like a lot of people are definitely doing that. That's one thing I really had to say. I do appreciate, and Derek, keep on doing what you're doing, love. I know the numbers are definitely low right now, but you are continuing to do higher and higher and higher, and we appreciate you, and I appreciate this conversation. I tune in every week, and you are fantastic, brother.
Thank you so much, Kenneth. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure, man.
All right.
And then
Good night.
And then we'll. So,
Keelan.
Yeah, you heard all these conversations. Y'all heard. I'm gonna connect you and Melissa together because she's talking about y'all need to talk to each other, make some things happen. We put it in your hands now, but I want to get kind of your final thoughts on all this. Let me know how you feel.
Derek, first of all, let me commend you, Craig, for what you're doing and the platform that you're doing it. I mean, the more you do this, and what I like about one of the participants said that you need to take this and we need to put this on our Instagram. I got 7,000 followers. I got, we need to continue this communication. It can't just stop here.
Right.
Yeah. I've already reached out to some of my friends and talked to them about what I was doing tonight. So, it's just like taking the message and putting it somewhere else so it continues to blossom. So my final thoughts are a couple of things, especially I'm glad that the guy who just said what he said, which spins into a conversation we probably can have at another time. I think masculinity and femininity and doms versus feminine women, I think that what happens is it contributes to dividing us. He's too gay, or he's the straight one, or she's too dom, or this kind of thing. Like at the end of the day, like I said, they're always going to pinpoint that we're all gay. Either you like sucking, I'm not going to get graphic on here. You like doing certain things with certain people, okay? It all boils down to the same shit. I think that if you allow yourself to understand that we're all in this melting pot together, we'll be in a better place. One of the participants said that the promoters are kind of the key. I agree. I'm a promoter / MC. I'm the one that can promote the party, but I'm also the one that can hype the party. So it is my job to continue to kind of use myself as a voice to explain that, hey, we got to come together. And I like that you had this conversation because now I hadn't barely been thinking about it. So now you in this conversation has implanted something in me to say, hey, let me talk to my DC friends and say, you know what? Let's bring some shit back together. And then again, going back to this COVID-19 situation, for me personally, and I keep saying that because I can't speak for everybody, but I know for me on a personal and a professional side, this almost 2 month in the house with my dog, it has allowed me to really do some soul searching, not a whole lot, but some soul searching and look at things quite differently. This is the first time in her story, like RuPaul would say, that we've not had fucking gay pride in Washington, D.C. We were coming for Atlanta. You hear me? DC was on the fucking map to come back. I'm trying to tell you, we did it last year. We were coming back, and then this happened. So a couple last pointers. Never put your eggs in all one basket. Never think that you know what's going to happen tomorrow. And live your life to the fullest. Because a lot of people, even with those small things like pride, would have never, ever thought that we would be in the situation we're in right now. It makes you think. It makes me think, what are we going to do differently? And like the young lady said, take this time to think about how we're going to do it differently. And take this time, like we already know, when we open those gates, it's an air of opportunity for us to do things that are quite different than we were doing it before. So what I leave with you is that, Derek J, I appreciate you allowing me to be a part of this. I apologize to all the participants for being late. I had some personal things going on, but I wanted to tune in when I could. But as a DC promoter, MC, a person that travels, I always want to also give Atlanta love because every time I come there, I get it. And I just appreciate the conversation. I hope I'm invited back.
You will be.
Either be a silent participant or to share my views. But I appreciate you. And be safe.
You too.
Thank you so much, Keelan.
Thank you.
Yes. With my red cup.
Right. Oh,
wow.
We got so many different views, so many different takes about this conversation.
There's a lot to think about.
There's a lot to think about, and and seeing it from different angles that I never thought to see it from.
There were definitely some things that I hadn't considered. Like Lisa Cunningham said a lot of things that I hadn't really thought about. So, and that's what this is about. It's to provoke you to think. And listen, we've been watching your comments along the side. We definitely are going to continue these conversations. If you want to continue to support this movement, because it costs to do this. We have production costs. We have our Cash App information down there. We did see a couple super chats that came
and we
through.
Appreciate them.
We
Thank you very
appreciate
much.
those. Thank you so very much for supporting what we do. And then typically we're going to be every other Wednesday.
Yes, it's every 2 weeks. But because this is Mental Awareness Month,
Mental Health
Awareness Month, we are doing an episode next week about mental health.
And of course, it's all tied into LGBTQ.
Yes, it's about just talk about LGBTQ mental health, because it's something that as a Black community we don't want to talk about, and we definitely want to talk about in the Black gay community.
Absolutely.
So if you guys are on here, and did you type it in this thing to put up there?
Yeah, I was gonna put it up here. Let me see.
I'll go to banner.
Let me go to banner.
There you go.
And then
it should be there already.
Did I already put it in here?
No. Okay, but we'll do that. So we want you guys, if you are not afraid, because the episode is called Silence to Shame, and so it's not about being shamed for anything. We want to have this conversation with you about mental health. If you're going through it, if you experienced it, if you have depression or bipolar or schizophrenia, any of those things, and you want to discuss that and let people know, about how you're dealing with it and how you're overcoming it. We want to hear from you, and that's going to happen next week, Wednesday. We're going to have this conversation about it, and you can click on.
Which one to put the
email address?
Email address. Now we do have the email address.
Okay, there we go.
Here's the email address.
Yeah, that's what I said. The email address.
I thought you meant the topic.
No, the email address.
If you want to participate in this conversation, email us right here. It's glmconvo@gmail.com. That's gay like me. So glmconvo@gmail.com.
Now listen, people.
Don't take us off topic.
Yeah, no, don't take us off topic, but listen, when you send us this email, we appreciate your stories, but we don't want to hear them right now. When we call you, we'll call you and get the information. But send us a picture and a short paragraph on how you can add to the conversation and your contact information. That's all we need.
That's it. Listen, we don't need no long paragraph. We don't need a dissertation.
We don't need your coming out story. We don't want none of that. We just want to know
if you suffer from mental health issues,
how can you add to the conversation?
That's it.
That's all we want to know. That's it.
And the email address, once again, is glmconvo@gmail.com.
Yes.
And that conversation will take place 1 week from today.
Yes.
And again, typically we're bi-weekly on Wednesday, but because May is Mental Health Awareness Month, we wanted to get this conversation in. So it's going to be next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. I mean, it wouldn't be right for us not to have this conversation. Right. So make sure if you are that person and you're not afraid to have that conversation, please let us know. And email us. We want to hear from you. We want to just know. And and we want to learn more from this. So please have us, please reach out to us. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. Please reach out to us and give us your information and we'll reach out to you. So
please share this video. Don't forget to share this video.
Like, share, subscribe.
It's important.
If you're on my page watching, go subscribe to Craig's page. If you're on Craig's page watching, please come to my page and subscribe. And like he said, this does cost us. So our Cash App is right there. I know y'all think I'm rich and I don't need no money, but I don't need to be spending no extra money neither.
Please Cash App this lady something.
Shut up, Greg. But Yes. So we will talk to you guys next week. Thank y'all so much.
Yes. Invite your friends to tune in next Wednesday.
Yeah. Invite your friends to tune in next on Wednesday. Rita Thomas, what if a family member? I mean, if your family member wants to talk about it, tell them to come on.
Yes.
Or you know what? Actually, if you read it as a person that dealing with that's dealing with a family member with mental illness, we would like to hear from you too to see how you see what that's about. Yes. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you.
And do your ending.
What's my ending?
What you talking about? Brush your teeth, wash your tongue, all that.
Oh, that ain't for this.
Oh, it's not.
Listen, have an amazing night. We'll see you next week.